In this episode of Across Borders, North Korea and China. One is a renegade state, the other a superpower. Now they're doing business in a big way.
Well, I'm at North Korea's biggest trade fair ever, and the message is clear: North Korea is open for business.
At the same time, the hunt for North Korean defectors in China has intensified.
跑过来完了，那个家里就钱完了呗，那就。
Why is security for its people tightening as the hermit nation opens its doors to trade? A border is more than a line on a map. It provides national identity, but it also divides cultures and families. As a scholar, I'm fascinated by the regions where countries meet. They are so rich in shared history, culture, and even conflict, and some are facing major changes ahead. Come with me, Farish No, as I go across borders.
So this is where I start my journey, along the Yalu River. And on one side is Dandong, China, a hyper-modern city with shopping malls, steel and glass. And on the other side is North Korea, where often you don't even get electricity.
Dandong is a boomtown, the source of this wealth, doing business with reclusive neighbor North Korea. Trade between the two countries tripled within the last 6 years to reach $6 billion in 2012. And an estimated 80% of that trade flows through this city. As a border town, Dandong has an unusual advantage. You can stand here and gaze into the world's most reclusive nation. There are many here who hope to profit from this proximity.
Hi, you must be Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Okay, Farish.
Hi,
nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you too.
If you don't want to go through lengthy visa applications, you can still see North Korea from a boat. This is the town of Siniju.
Do you see that? Yeah, it's a fun park.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, maybe we can call it the Xingyizu Eye.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
but I never see
It's
it
a small
revolved.
eye,
Yeah, but I never see it revolved since I come here in 2001.
You've never seen it move?
Yeah, it's abandoned.
Ah.
Somebody said it because the lack of the power. It's not too much electricity.
You're right.
Most tourists are Chinese. For them, it's a glimpse into their own past when China was a struggling nation. In the 1970s, the Chinese used to migrate to North Korea, or as they call it, the DPRK, because of better conditions there.
The people like my parents want to go back and review their young life.
Right.
Yeah, for the young generation, maybe they about a lot of stories from their parents.
Right.
And then when their parents were young, what the tough life was. So just maybe travel to DPRK and experience.
themselves.
Yeah, and to experience it themselves.
While the Chinese tourists look back, these North Koreans have come to look into what perhaps could be their future. North Korea has enormous problems, and there might be a solution right here on the border. Tourism. Chinese businesses in Dandong made an estimated $4.3 billion from tourists in 2012, and most of them came to look at North Korea. North Korea now wants a slice of that pie. So the North Korean government is partnering its Dandong counterparts to host a photography exhibition in this city to show off their nation. North Korea is inviting foreign investors to set up companies or to be in joint ventures in the tourism industry. And this is a start. But so far, there have not been too many takers. But this embryonic North Korean tourist industry faces enormous hurdles. Fickle policies, poor legal system, and creaky infrastructure are just some of the things that keep investors away. At the moment, this old and narrow bridge is one of the few gateways across the border, but China is already stepping in. This is the new Yalu River Bridge, costing 300 million US dollars and scheduled for completion in 2014. Trade volume should rise, and it will be much easier for tourists to cross the border. To celebrate these trade ties, the North Koreans are throwing a huge party. Today is the opening of the biggest trade fair that North Korea has ever organized outside its borders. Could this extravaganza signal that the world's most closed country is open for business? North Korea is on a charm offensive. They want to dazzle the elite of Dandong. The message seems to be clear. North Korea wants China's business.
이번 박람회는 우리 두 나라 사이의 경제, 무역, 문화, 관광 등 여러 분야에서 이뤄간 성과들과 경험들을 교환하고 허상 협력을 강화할 수 있는 좋은 계기로 될 것입니다.
Why does North Korea want to improve ties? Many North Korean experts suspect that the new regime needs economic growth to quell growing dissatisfaction among its people. And it is turning to its longtime ally, Asia's superpower, to give it a leg up. I'm here at the grand opening.
下面有请出席台上的领导和嘉宾共同按下中朝商品展览交易会启动引擎。
I'm told that 50,000 people have turned up.
Here I am now in the biggest trade fair that's been organized by North Korea here in China. So let's see what's on offer.
No surprises at the entrance. This is a photo exhibition dedicated to the dear leader Kim Jong-un. It comes complete with patriots who clearly worship their leader.
So this is newly built Changchun Street in Junggo District in Pyongyang City.
In Pyongyang, right?
Yes. He visited one of the who moved to Changchun Street.
Right.
Okay. So this is a workers family.
All right. Okay. So the president visits the house of right.
So he wants to know any problem in their life.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So he gave many presents.
Right. Books.
Yeah, books for children and
Right.
TV.
So is there anything else on offer? Well, it all depends if you have a need for North Korea tonics, Viagra, bear bile, skincare, art and fashion.
I've seen enough ginseng and skincare products, and I need a coffee now. Kevin,
Hi, how you doing?
I need a coffee.
Oh, you need a coffee? A latte or a
Latte.
latte?
A latte.
Okay.
Besides running a coffee shop here for the last 6 years, Kevin Garrett also frequently travels to North Korea for NGO work. He runs a popular blog documenting changes on the border with North Korea. So he offers a lot more than a latte.
I mean, for me, this has been an eye-opener because generally the stories we get about North Korea are not happy ones. But when you come to a trade fair like this, it is literally amazing to see all this.
Yes. Well, I mean, the people you see here and also the companies you see here are almost always from Pyongyang, right, from the capital. You very seldom will see someone from outside of Pyongyang. And that would be even day to day. The people who come are just from the capital, and they're from, I would call them the trusted families. But the common person you would not see here, very seldom.
Kevin tells me these North Koreans are not in Dandong for the first time. Over the last 6 years, he has seen more North Koreans coming to Dandong City every year. More business deals were struck, creating much of the wealth that we see in Dandong.
We are in the middle of a mega city that's literally mushrooming overnight. And so much of this is based on the idea that in the not too long from now, all of this is going to be, a massive commercial center. I mean, how optimistic are you about that?
Well, I sometimes look more practically. What do I see today? It's hard to see too far in the future. I look at what does the government see? They're building a new bridge to North Korea. They're building all these apartments and all these buildings here. So they have some hope or something they know about the future that we don't know. But I think there's a good future. If you look at the development around, even in Dandong, we're building a new Wanda Plaza, which is a big development, both housing, commercial, and another 5-star hotel in town. That says something about the city.
Not only are the Chinese building within Dandong, they also have astounding plans to build across the border in North Korea. These images show the Chinese will be building 2 economic zones over in North Korea. They will be linked by a rail line. I had to see for myself, so here I am, at the border. Right across the fence is where the special economic zone is planned. But there isn't much to see. Although the agreement between Beijing and Pyongyang was signed back in 2012, nothing has been built yet. I've seen reports that suggest the future for these cross-border enterprise zones is uncertain, but there's one bunch of people ready to take a bet on the plan. Asian investors. They seem to have sniffed out a fast buck. They've been spending millions on this new development right next to the Yalu River Bridge and the Special Economic Zone. Its best units offer beautiful views of North Korea.
I'm tempted to do one thing. I really feel like making a paper plane and throwing it to North Korea. You think I can do that?
Yeah. You need paper?
Do you have paper? Can I have some?
The investors are making a big bet that North Korea will undergo economic reform.
So you've invested an enormous amount of money in this project. I mean, are you confident about the results?
Yes, we are confident about the results because we look at the prospects of Dandong. We think that Dandong in the long term will do well, with the expected boost from the increasing trade with North Korea, and the plans which are to expand the business facilities here. So in terms of with that view, we think that in the long term, this project will do well.
I couldn't help noticing something odd. In every direction you look, there's a building frenzy, but few people are living here. The developer tells me most units have been sold. The main buyers are investors who are keeping it empty and hoping to sell it for a profit when North Korea opens up and prices skyrocket. Like all investments, it's a gamble, and no one knows how the dice will fall.
So for me, it seems like this is like the gold rush in the Wild West. There's a potential of making enormous mistakes, but also enormous success. How do you feel, being here at this particular moment in time?
Well, like you just said, no risk, no gain. We feel that we are here at the right time, the right place, and with the right conditions.
A lot is riding on the view that North Korea is serious about economic reforms. And perhaps they have to be because of economic realities. But what exactly are China's motivations here? Is it business? Politics? Or could they be trying to prevent a looming crisis, bubbling away right on its border and already hurting people's lives out of sight and out of most minds? Trade between China and North Korea is booming. What's driving these new economic bonds? Is it just the push for profits? Or are there bigger geopolitical considerations at stake? Could it be that all these investments are meant to stave off a looming crisis in North Korea that will detonate here first, right on the border? I found the answer a few hundred miles away in another border city, Yanzi. Yanzi is in China, but it isn't very Chinese. You could almost be in Seoul. For 1/3 of the city's population of 400,000 people are ethnic Koreans. Long ago in the 1930s, their grandparents came here from Korea. They settled and became Chinese citizens. But there are still many people here who speak the Korean language. So as conditions in North Korea deteriorated, many defectors found refuge in Yanxi. It was not hard for the defectors to blend in until recently.
On the North Korean side of the border, guards have been told to shoot to kill anyone trying to cross. And on this side of the border, the government has been offering money to anyone who would reveal defectors who are already here.
As a result of these measures, just over 1,500 North Korean defectors arrived in South Korea in 2012. That's a drop of 43%. As for the defectors who've been hiding in Yangtze for years, the recent increase in border security has also had devastating consequences, as I found out when I met the Tsao family. These children were all adopted by this ethnic Korean couple. Their mothers are all North Korean defectors who were forced to abandon them. All these kids are dealing with traumatic experiences.
他们北朝鲜那个50嘛，那样的过来的时候，那个都那边的都那样是都卖出去嘛，他们要钱给他们都卖出去，那样都能去了嘛，那都是反正是，那什么丈夫都别人，反正不行的人都那个嫁了，他们都不能结婚的那样的人，那个给北朝鲜人。 是7000、5000、6000，或者钱多的是什么1万那样都卖的那结婚的那样，那样他们都什么生孩子了嘛，过几年了嘛，那些又搞上了，那样给他们那个北朝鲜抓过去。
After their mother was arrested, Tsing Xia and Tsing Feng's father started drinking. He was unable to care for them, and so they were offered to others for adoption.
以前我妈妈说，朝鲜是一个很困难的地方，那里都没有，可以好吃好住的地方。我现在11岁，我7岁的时候见过我妈妈，现在不记得了。
Every child here can tell a similar story of neglect and abuse before they were rescued. Their saviors don't have much. The Tsao family struggles to raise all the kids on a monthly income of $200, but they are nourished instead by their religious beliefs. Here in Yanchi, it is ethnic Korean evangelical groups that have supported the defectors. And not surprisingly, it has put them in grave danger.
Along the border, there are hundreds of these churches, many of which are registered by the state, but also many more that are unregistered and underground. Some of them are known to have given refuge to North Koreans and also helped North Koreans to get to places like Thailand, where they can get refugee status so that they can go back to South Korea. So I'm going to talk to one of the pastors now.
Though it's always been a crime in China to help defectors, it's only recently that the police have so rigorously clamped down. This man has helped many defectors, and to protect his identity, we can't show you his face.
In your estimation, how many North Koreans do you think are in this part of China now?
6年97年开始，那时候好像他们跑过来的那时候一天有30多个、40多个那么过来了，现在没有，这几年根本没有。一般他们就过来吧，那个没地方去，所以来教会。
And can you tell me what's happened to the churches have been trying to help the Koreans?
被抓了就判刑，这个教会负责人就必须那撤了，那就不让他干负责人。 完了，在那个就是几个月拘留，严重的话3年4年都有啊。
The Chinese government has stepped up the surveillance on church groups. But there are still many who help defectors at great personal risk.
偷着跑过来，完了那个家里就全完了呗，那就一个人跑过来就那家里那就他们也得都得抓进去，那就父母啊，这个兄弟啊，都得有的遭难。可是呢，就是那块就这个跑过来比那个饿死还强吧。
China is being criticized for refusing to grant refugee status to defectors who are hiding in places like this. But experts believe that it's hard-nosed diplomacy. North Korea's nuclear program is a headache for the world, including China. Some experts suspect that defectors are being used as a bargaining chip to make Pyongyang more cooperative.
And the Chinese government want to maintain a cooperative relationship with the DPRK to seek solutions of its nuclear programs. So Chinese government must answer the calls from the Pyongyang. And Pyongyang in the past years insist repatriations of the North Koreans from China because it's something to do with the face, it's something to do with the regime stabilities.
The stability of the North Korean regime is as important to China as the North Korean leaders. If the regime collapses, refugees would flood across its borders into China with unpredictable consequences. And if the end result is a united single Korea, then the nightmare scenario for Beijing is a new American ally right on its doorstep.
The relationship between China and North Korea has always been a complex one, with China wielding both the carrot and the stick and trying to perhaps deal with the problem of a rogue state at its borders that it needs in order to guarantee its own security.
But how does one reason with a rogue state? Perhaps the language of finance, along with the sweetener of citizen control, is the best way to reach out to Pyongyang. But will it work? This dangerous game with global consequences is being played out by businessmen, refugees, soldiers and spies interacting on the border of the world's most enigmatic nation.
On next week's episode, Myanmar and Bangladesh. I visit a beautiful border region where there's trouble under the surface. A group of people find themselves unwanted by either side. Is there a solution to this problem? Join me next week on Across Borders.